Okay, the foundation portfolio for presentation, group 107E.
Okay, our film is called The Call. As the name suggests, it's based around phones and sort of how they can be used to give people awkward and sort of uneasy situations. And we gave the tagline, are you prepared to put your life on the line? Like online, so it ties in with the idea as well.
The synopsis is Anthony Black is a successful businessman. He's got a good family and he's got a good paying job at a pharmacy which he works at, and he also does kind of shady drug deals in between acts. He's got access to lots of medicine and stuff. So he's overall a bad person. And one day he goes back to his home and we find out his wife has found out all that he does, and he goes to sleep, and the next morning he wakes up in a strange room with a bag on his head, and he gets told he's been injected with poison, and that he has to find phones to find a location of an antidote.
We've done the 3-act treatment and we've done 3 acts. The first one is the equilibrium, where we establish what sort of man Anthony Black is and what kind of business he's running, what kind of a relationship he has with his wife. It's a bad one, obviously. And witness the first scene where they have a confrontation, and it moves on to Act 2, which is the disruption, where he wakes up in the morning in an unfamiliar room and he's faced with the challenge of finding the phones due to the fact that he's poisoned. And he's been given a time limit because it will kick in at some point, but not only that, he is also being chased by police because someone's phoned in, like, because of his shady drug deals. He's quite notorious, so someone's phoned in the police and given his location away, so he's also being faced off with that problem as well. And then in Act 3, the new equilibrium, he finds the last phone and he goes into the warehouse where the antidote is supposedly there, but there he finds his wife, who is actually the kidnapper. And after like a long conversation, which is really angry and dramatic, she tells him like he's only got like 10 minutes left to live. Like she's been like stalling him and trying to show him what kind of a man he is, and she tells him the location where the antidote actually is, but he doesn't. And like he has a choice to like face his sins and die for what he's done, so he would not take the antidote, or he has the choice of taking the antidote and walking off, and he takes the antidote, but the antidote is actually poison, so he's a bit of a loser.
He was never poisoned like the entire time.
Yeah.
Our protagonist, Anthony Black, we decided would be an anti-hero because of his job, because he's a drug dealer, but we sort of want him to be likeable still a bit, like how Ryan Gosling is in Drive a bit, because he's playing anti-hero, he's nice. And then we have the wife, who is the antagonist, damsel and shapeshifter, because she is the bad person, but she also originally was someone that would have been helping him, and also up until the end we thought was just his wife. So, and then there's the police who are hunting him the whole time, and the mafia are involved in it slightly as they are after him as well, but not so much as the police, because he hasn't been like keeping up with his demands for his drugs.
casting crew, the director would be me, Alice Jones, and the cameraman would be Rachel, and the editors would be all of us, and Bethany, and Jan would be Anthony, and Beth would be Caroline.
Okay, locations we use. For the interior of the pharmacy, we'd probably just use a room in the school that looked like it, probably a science room. And for the exterior, we film an actual pharmacy, so he's walking out of it, and the shots would be seamless, you wouldn't notice a change. And the home would just kind of be one of our own houses, or maybe, if we get the angle right, the canteen in the school. And the city shots, just streets, buildings, etc. And the unfamiliar room, we didn't really decide on it, but just kind of any dark room would work, really.
Yeah, our unique selling point was the idea of the twist, how he was never poisoned the whole time, how he dooms himself due to his choices near the end. Yeah, and how the audience can actually download the ringtone that is used in it for the phones if they like the Facebook page.
Our first influence was One Missed Call. It's about people receiving phone calls telling them that they're going to die, all this sort of stuff. And it was an influence because it drives the character to make certain actions like it does in our film, like because of the phone calls he's been yeah.
Our second influence is Dirty Harry, because there's a scene in the film, it's quite a big scene, where the main killer orders Dirty Harry to go to each phone booth, locate around the seat to make sure he's alone and not being followed, or he hasn't got a wire or anything. And this helped us establish shots in between, so like moving to each phone booth, what can actually happen. And the third influence is Die Hard 3, because one of the main plot points is that John McClane and Zeus have to answer riddles on the phone scattered around the city to help secure the location of a bomb. And that's basically ours, and we replaced the bomb with the antidote, essentially.
For marketing, we will release all sorts of advertisements on social networks which are frequently used, like teasers on Vine, adverts on YouTube, Instagram, the poster, and have like a Facebook page. Yeah.
Okay, we'll put adverts on Facebook because it's a really popular social network site, and we won't include too much, just a date to keep it kind of anonymous, and we'll offer them the ringtone if they like the page, so it's a win-win for everyone.
And we had this as our sort of poster because we wanted the film to sort of be an enigma, like how for other films characters sometimes are, so people are interested by it, sort of want to know what it's about, so they research it maybe by themselves, and then inevitably see it.
Questions? Rashid?
Do you ever actually feel sorry for the wife? Because you only just need to feel like that.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like, we kind of wanted to change places of the wife and the husband. Like at the beginning, you would hate the husband, like he's meant to have been portrayed as like a disgusting character. But and the wife's meant to seem quite weak at first, but as they change places and she grows stronger, she becomes worse and badder. And the men are emphasise more for the main characters as well. Right?
Yeah.
So do we feel sorry for him in the end?
In the end, we feel more sorry for the man, yeah.
And then start disliking his wife? I'm a bit puzzled about, I like your idea of all the phones, etc. Is that going to be like in Die Hard phone booths, or is it going to be mobiles?
I think we're going to just do mobiles, because pointless to have a ringtone either, so...
And I don't think there's many
Can't
phone
really-
booths in
can't
Brighton
really
really,
phone
are there?
booth either.
It's probably more common in New York, but
Yeah. Yeah, I've done this once, quite funny.
oh, can you? All right. So you could get around that, but you prefer the mobile
Yeah,
idea.
which is my role.
So the mobile's going to be planted in different locations, are they? Okay. Any other questions? I was quite intrigued by the sort of idea. Are you saying something about the overuse of mobile phones? Is this a moral statement about our society?
Good bit short.
Yeah.
Or you not really conceived that idea? Are you saying phones are bad? Okay. Just wanted to check. Sorry, and I wasn't sure about your audience either.
15, over 15 to like 25, 30, keep it like fresh.
Everyone has a phone basically. So.
Right. So it's more about the kind of psychological and the kind of thrill of the chase, if you like, trying to work it out, who's doing what. Okay, and your opening title sequence, how's that going to...
That will be the first, like, some of the first act and maybe a little bit of the second, so it'll just be the first act pretty much. So
It'd be like establishing his job, kind of, without saying it. Like shots of him in action in his business.
And is the whole kind of, the sort of underworld, the mafia, is that just secondary to your storyline,
Yeah.
really? It's not.
yeah.
It's mainly... Are we led to believe that it could be them, though, that's setting this thing up?
Not particularly. Like, I mean, it's sort of like it could be implied, but like it's not specifically mentioned. Like that it could be them. Like the audience could be led to believe that.
So it's left fairly open, really. But no hints at the wife until the end. Okay. Thank you very much, Group B.